Hey, this is Nina, and I'd like to show you some of the Modular Synth sound design I used on a recent track. Before we jump in, I thought I'd mention I'm going to be making more videos going forward. Famous last words, I realise. If you enjoy this, please consider liking and subscribing, for the algorithm. I thought I'd focus on the modular synth parts as they're the most interesting and form the heart of the track. I've kept this quite light and the patches are relatively simple, but if you're interested in a deeper dive on modular synths, please do let me know. The palette of sounds I've used is very much inspired by the works of Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, specifically the Ghosts series and the Social Network soundtrack. I wanted it to sound raw and unstable, like a machine that's barely holding itself together. Modular synths are great for that. Without further ado, let's dive right in and take a look at the drone patch. This has become one of my favourite ways of making a drone patch. There are three main modules involved. We've got Platts as our sound source. That goes through to the meth amp, which is based on a very well-known fuzz pedal. That outputs to the wasp filter, and we're using that in low-pass mode. For the uninitiated, Platts is what's known as a macro oscillator, and it makes its sounds algorithmically based on various parameters that you can set. I've plugged the Platts modules straight into my audio interface so you can hear the sound it's making directly. And here we've got it set to the string/resonator mode, which is a physical modeling simulation. The timbre control here is changing the rate of, I believe they call it the particles or the excitations that are happening. And as you slow it down, you can hear those individual excitations. And then I found there's a sweet spot, kind of where those individual excitations turn into a sort of homogeneous sound. And it sounds like it's a little distorted, or maybe it is, but that's kind of nice. The morph control here is to do with the decay time of those excitations. So the higher that is, the longer that decay time. But again, there was a nice sweet spot I found. Somewhere there. And then there was the amount of inharmonic content. And again, I found there was a nice sweet spot between the harmonic and inharmonic content. And once I had this dialed in, I didn't really touch it at all during the track. I mainly tweaked it using the wasp filter. I've now patched in the meth amp, which is adding even more distortion to the sound. I found again there's a nice sweet spot, which is adding even more extra harmonics that we're going to filter in and out later on using the wasp filter. But even now it's taking shape. It's sounding a bit like a continuous sort of electric guitar tone, or maybe a guitar that's been played using an EBow, which is one of those sustainer devices that you hold next to a string. And then it's off to the wasp filter. I'm using this in low pass mode. So as we change the frequency control, we're getting less of the high frequencies. And this sort of functions as a volume control throughout the track to add a bit of dynamics. And even there you can hear a little bit of the quirkiness of the wasp filter, all those lovely weird harmonics that pop in. In the track itself, I recorded this part twice, panning one part to the left and the other to the right. That adds a lot of width, and it's kind of like a chorus effect, and it sounds a bit more natural. I'm going to simulate that here by delaying the left and right channel. So now what you can hear is the same sound going to the left and right channel, but the right channel is delayed by about 150 milliseconds. And it gives it that lovely width. And like I say, in the track itself, I recorded it twice and it sounds a bit more natural than that, but that's an approximation. And then I added a little bit of reverb. And you can hear that. A bit of the trails of that there. For the bass patch, I start off with 2 Dopefer oscillators. They run through to these Moog style, shall we say, modules here. So I've got the mixer, the VCA, and of course the low pass filter. I use 2 ADSR envelopes to control the various VCAs in the patch. One of those also splits off and runs into the frequency modulation input of oscillator 1 over there, and that gives it that real bite at the beginning of each note. I'm sequencing the bass patch using stepper acid here. This is a 303 style sequencer, so it has a really acidy sound about it. Stepper acid is a sequencer I designed with Zoe Blade. I designed the hardware for this. Zoe's more in the software department, and it's also the reason I have 3 of them. As I mentioned earlier, there's a little bit of frequency modulation going on at the beginning of each note, and if I play with the control here, you can sort of hear in an exaggerated form what that's doing. So it's adding that real bite to the beginning of each note. And I just chose a value that felt right for the actual track. And then I'm using this Moog style filter at the end of the patch to do some low pass filtering. This particular filter has actually been modded to be a bit more like the 1967, I believe, version of the filter. It's got a few more harmonics and, to my ear, sounded a bit heavier in the sort of bass department. Actually, let's get terribly geeky for a second and I'll show you the mods made to this filter. So as you can see, it's been modded with a secondary board with the larger capacitors on there. Some of those capacitor values have changed as well, and that's what's adding the extra harmonics. And finally, we've got a very sort of traditional acid sound. So I'm using the Zox Heart here. That's mimicking the 303 style voice. So with the 303 style sequencer and the 303 style voice, plus a bit of delay, we get this. And it wouldn't be an acid patch unless you tweaked the filter cutoff. So those are the 3 main parts on the modular. Let's have a listen at what they sound like all together. Thanks for watching. I'm working on part 2 at the moment, along with a number of other tracks. These are going to form an EP I'm releasing later this month. Take care, and I'll be back with another video soon.